Talking Scheetz, powered by Canadian Power Pack Solar. You know, I was just thinking, yes, we have solar on the Scheetz Ranch here on both homes, and we absolutely love it. And no, we're not necessarily tree-hugging hippie freaks.
Hey.
You don't have to be be into solar.
But you can be.
I've got nothing against tree-hugging hippie freaks. In fact, I wish I was one. At least I wish I had enough hair to make a ponytail. But here's the deal. Solar is about being smart about the future. Not just green energy, but also the fact that we have a controlled cost for our electricity moving forward. And that cost is nothing.
Ooh. One thing about you is you like when something is free 99.
Exactly. And that's exactly the way our solar power works, especially in the summer when that sun is shining down. We are solar farmers. Canadian Power Pack, they gave us an incredible deal, saved thousands and thousands of dollars. They'll do the same thing for you, no matter who you are. You should consider solar. Maybe you haven't, but you really honestly should. When you look at it, it's an absolute no-brainer with the government incentives, a $40,000 interest-free loan, and so much more. And there's no other place to go than Canadian Power Pack Solar. Talk to our buddy, Greg there, Greg Jonas.
Google it. Yep. Call them. Yep. Go to their Instagram. We just recently posted a collab with them on our Instagram.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find them. Let them know Talking Scheetz sent you and that you want to get in on being a solar farmer. We should get like t-shirts made.
I think so.
Solar farmers. It's kind of cool.
Not a bad idea at all. Canadian Power Pack, they will hook you up. And you, if you're not powered by solar yet, you should be. Dun, dun, da, da, dun, dun, da, da.
Yes, we are talking weddings today.
Yeah, weddings. Apparently it's a big deal.
It's a hot topic. Hot topic, yeah.
That's a minor understatement. Yeah. We've got your take and so much more coming up right after Dan Davidson.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be, 'cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking Scheetz.
Thank you, Dan. Talking Scheetz.
That was maybe your most... You know how at the beginning when we started this in January, we were like, you got to dial back the radio announcer?
Yeah.
It just jumped out again there.
When
you introed, you did the ad, and then you were like, okay, coming up after this break, right after this.
It's 3:45 right here on Kissin' Country 103.9.
Yeah, it came out. I mean, I don't blame you. I'm not coming at you, but wow, I was like, I'm sitting in the control room.
It's just like the old days. I got that feel going.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, which we encourage you to do because you can see us here today, you could see me wearing proudly my Edmonton Elks jersey that they gave me this year. It's got the number 17 on it for the 17 seasons that I worked with the football organization, which is very, very nice. This jersey, I love green and gold, and I just love our football team, and just encouraging people to get out and support. While we're recording this, they are playing a game. I'm recording the game, so no spoiler alerts here, please. Renato, producer.
I mean, if he's got work to do behind the camera here, if he's got time to check the Elks score on his phone, then we're not working him hard enough.
He loves to spoil alert things for me.
He does.
Like so many times during the season, I wouldn't know what was going on because I'd be watching a game, behind time, and he would always hint that there were, what was going on, and it would just drive me crazy.
Maybe it's because it's the wedding episode and I'm feeling romantic, but I'm inclined to take his side on this one.
Okay.
Because you are the worst when it comes to spoilers and sports games and things like that. I am kind of the vein that if you are not watching in real time, then like it's open season for people to discuss or talk about a score.
Oh, really?
But you are just like, if you have to pause a game, if something is going on in your life, this goes for every sports, this goes for Elks, this goes for Oilers, sometimes Blue Jays.
Yeah.
You make everyone else pause and wait, and nobody can watch the game in real time until you're ready. And I don't know that that's always fair.
Like, it's not fair to stop the rest of the world for your own pleasure?
Perhaps not. Okay. And like sometimes, especially like in the playoffs and when sports get really intense, it's fun to watch in real time. You can look at tweets, you can kind of follow along. Everybody's on the same page. And you're like, no. Come over for dinner. The game is paused. Nobody look at their phones. And basically become a Luddite. Disconnect from society for the entire day.
A whatite?
A Luddite.
What's a Luddite?
Somebody that doesn't use technology,
so
right?
They're...
Yeah.
Are they related to the Hutterites and the Mennonites?
Well, there must be an ites. I do think that something about ites.
Okay,
but
whatever that means. You're less plugged in.
We should have our talking sheets vocab word of the day.
Yeah.
Today it's Luddite.
Well, we got Smart Man here. So what's a Luddite?
Bailey nailed it. I think there is some kind of group, like a religious
like
fundamentalist group, that is where the term emerged.
Yeah, it's got to be something. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think that like when the game is on, the game is on.
All right.
But nobody in this room is going to spoil it for you. We're basically we're kind of in our own little shelter here.
Yeah, I think we're safe. We're in like a little.
Unless Leona's going to yell the score at you, you'll be okay.
We're in the Talking Sheets bomb shelter. We're fine in here. Elks. So this is so funny because before we started, we agreed we'd have to move pretty quick because we got to talk about weddings, and now here we go. We're 7 minutes in.
That's one thing about us is we're gonna talk. That's kind of the whole point.
That point is the Talking Sheets.
Yes.
So Elks are awesome. I was at the Riverhawks game on July 2nd, so that was Wednesday night. With Alberta Dreams, the organization that I proudly work with now. We had an opportunity to hang out in their community corner and just kind of encourage people to help out Alberta Dreams. And man, that Riverhawk situation, I know the night before they had July 1st, they had Canada Day fireworks, they had a sold out crowd. Then you went on Friday night.
Yeah, we went on Friday night. We were invited into a suite, very fancy, by our new friends, Derek and Ashley. They were great, so shout out to them. But we got to go in the Riverhawk suite, which is like right at field level. We were behind the opposing team's dugout. We were kind of like on the dugout, which was really, really cool. And it also made me realize when you're really close to these guys, they're kids. Like I'm usually up in the top, but I'm like, wow, these are young men.
Not just kids, Bailey, but let's say it. Who's better looking? Professional soccer players or professional baseball players? Because they've got a look to them.
Yeah.
They all look kind of the same, and they're like handsome.
They were cuties. They were little cuties for sure. And like I was like, wow, they're just like I don't, maybe it's the pants. Maybe they're like, they look so cute.
Yeah, well they're kind of dressed in their little it looks like their pajamas almost.
Yeah, I love one thing I love about baseball is the uniforms are so like old school still, and the best is when the coaches and everyone is wearing the uniform, you know, like that, how they do that.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's so cute.
Like wouldn't
no
it be funny in hockey if like
Yes.
Chris Knobloch had to wear full equipment and a jersey and a helmet behind the bench, you know, just so he looked like the rest of the team.
I like it. I like that everybody's on board.
Yeah.
But it was
everybody, the ball, the coaches, like the first and third base coach, everybody's all one.
In
you
uniform.
love that, right?
It's kind of like us today, actually. I was going to note that for maybe you can't tell, but for the first time, maybe ever, we're coordinated. We're both wearing green today.
Okay.
Does this look green to you?
No.
Oh.
No.
What does it look?
I guess so.
Okay,
maybe
you're
green.
wearing green. When you said you loved green and gold, I was gonna say, but do you really? Like, do you know?
Colorblind boy.
Yeah,
exactly.
But we do match.
Riverhawks, great experience.
Yes, and so much fun.
And you were like stalked from a celebrity perspective there.
I wouldn't say stalked. But we had a encounter with some Scheetz Heads.
Yeah.
In the suite next to us, living the bougie life. I said I felt like Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game.
Right.
Sweet people, really, really cool. Tyler and Leslie, they were in the suite over from us, and they kind of came over and asked for a photo with me and said that they were the biggest fans of Talking Sheets, and they had just listened to the School's Out episode. They used the episode by name, so like I knew they were real ones.
Right, awesome.
And Tyler had said, I know you guys are pushing for YouTube viewers, so I watch on YouTube.
Way to go, Tyler.
Yes, and they had really cool vintage Edmonton Trappers jerseys on, which remember the Trappers that played at that field as well.
Ron Kittle.
Yeah, so they looked so cool, and I was like, they were like, so sorry to bug you, like we didn't want to do this. I'm like, I feel famous, please bug me. Like I was like, wow. And then everyone
didn't they say like this happens to you all the time?
I'm sure this happens all the time. No, it doesn't. Like, come on. If you are a Talking Sheets fan and you see me in public, please. That was like I was like, wow, my ego did not need that today. And everyone else in our suite just saw me taking photos with fans. It was they were so cool. And they had said that they grew up listening to you and then have kind of transitioned over to the podcast. So
amazing.
Loved them. Yeah, great people.
We call them Scheetz Outs. I'm going to do a Scheetz Out too. I was getting my hair cut the other day at Mr. Barber, and the fellow that was cutting my hair, all of a sudden there was the seat beside me, and then the barber says, "Hey, he knows you too," and it was Mac, Big Mac, and he said, "Man, my mornings aren't the same. since I left the radio. And I said, my mornings aren't the same either. And it's fantastic. I get to sleep in. But I said, hey, we got a podcast. I'm starting to tell people that, right? As soon as they say they're missing me on Kissin'. And he said, oh, yeah, my wife listens all the time. And her name is Emily. So shout out to Emily. And one quick funny thing about Mac, we were kind of having a fun little discussion when we were getting our hair cut. And I said, hey, just do my hair sexier than his. And he had great hair. Like, it was just a joke. And he says, oh man, I'm not sexy. He says, in fact, when I used to play lacrosse, my coach once said, you know what I love about you, Mac? He said, you're ugly, you own it, and you're not afraid to get uglier when it comes to fighting.
Wow.
So he said he loved me for that. And I just love that. You're ugly, you own it, and you're not afraid to get uglier.
Sheets out to Mac.
Big Mac.
We don't think you're ugly.
I don't think Mac's ugly.
No, you had great hair, as you said.
But I thought that was a pretty good
It's a great
line.
anecdote.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're not afraid to get uglier. So fists up. You can do it. So anyway, shout out to those talking Scheetz Heads this week. I want to tease something really quick. There's going to be something happening very, very soon as far as an announcement goes. If you're listening to this episode on Monday, on Tuesday, we'll be announcing something extremely special with Explore Edmonton, K-Days, Alberta Dreams, and our friends at Golden Spike Lumber in Spruce Grove. And I can't say any more than that because we're leaving this off to a big announcement, but it's big and it's going to involve talking Scheetz as well.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week for sure. Get into all the details.
Exactly.
But we're embargoed right now. It's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal again. Yeah, we're embargoed because of the situation. So shout out for that. Okay. Should we do Londonderry before we talk wedding season? Does that make sense? That probably makes sense. I think, shout out to Londonderry Dodge. I took a cruise out to Pigeon Lake to the music festival, I guess last night when we recorded this. And that Wrangler is so much fun to drive. And it's just so comfortable. And
you look cool.
Your mom loves it.
Yeah, I think that she feels pretty cool in it.
It's her favorite. That Jeep Wrangler's her favorite. Londonderry Dodge hooked us up. They've hooked you up.
Yeah, we have our Jeep Compass Trailhawk. And it's just comfortable, great driving. We're heading to the mountains next weekend, which is going to be the true test of the Trailhawk in its natural environment. It's supposed to be like an off-roading vehicle.
You've got these off-road selections where you can go like rock climbing and whatever, waterfall, swimming.
Sand. I'm like, I'd never driven on sand before. Maybe we'll find some in the mountains. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, there's sand in the mountains.
Looking forward to, usually in a road trip, you're like, oh, we're going to be uncomfortable. Like you're kind of dreading the drive. No, it's going to be so nice to do that drive, especially between Calgary and Canmore. Like just driving through there, in the Trailhawk, I can't wait.
Nothing against the Tic-Tic Elantra that you would be driving normally.
No,
but
this is going to be a comfortable.
This will be a sweet ride for you in the mountains. Again, shout out to Londonderry Dodge, Mitch, Jamie, the staff there. And don't forget, if you go see another Scheetz Head, our good friend Raylene at Londonderry Dodge in the service department, they do a great job there. You say you heard it on Talking Scheetz, you get $10 off your oil change. Okay, so do that.
And remember to get your oil changed. This is your reminder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important, I've heard.
For the longevity of your vehicle, no matter what you're driving.
Yes.
Get that oil changed every, 5,000 K?
I say this as if I have ever gotten our oil changed. It's a producer Renato job, but we do it. Londonderry Dodge.
He's nodding. He's like,
he's got it in the calendar. It's set. It's done.
That vehicle gets to 4,999 K no matter where he is. He's driving to get the oil change at Londonderry Dodge.
It's just a straight shot.
He's a good, responsible man like that.
He is.
Shout out to Londonderry. Okay, let's get into it. I saw this on social media just recently, and it said, no ring, no bring. No ring, no bring. And I was like, this is interesting. So I watched I watched it.
Was it a reel?
It was something, maybe TikTok or reel. But it was basically, a bride was saying, if you bring somebody to my wedding and that person is not married to you,
or engaged, maybe.
I guess engaged, in a ring. I guess engaged or married. They're not invited because the last thing I want at my wedding is you bringing a date that has nothing to do with me or nothing to do with the groom, and then you break up with them or you were never really with them, and they were at my wedding, and that's just pointless. So no ring, no bring, and that was the first take that got us to the subject of just talking about wedding season. So I know we're not kind of going in the natural progression here, but that's where it started. And how do you feel about that?
I think that you missed the big part of that. And I think it is that wedding food and like per plate and per setting is so expensive.
Right.
And so I think it's not even like, oh, we don't want your random hinge date at our wedding. It's like, we don't want to pay for your random hinge date.
That wasn't her take though.
Oh, really?
No.
She's just like,
Her
I don't
want your random. I don't want a random at my wedding.
You want to be around people that you're close to.
I don't want a random at my wedding. And I thought that was extremely fair.
Yeah. I think that like ring is a bit aggressive. I think that like to be in a committed or long-term relationship with someone and to also
What is a committed and long-term relationship? Like, are we saying 3 months, 6 months?
I think having
9 months?
you have met the bride and groom and like you're a part of, some people are common law, some people don't choose to get married. I think that ring is a little
I think
strict.
so too. Yeah, no, that's fair. But
the general like rule around like only people, serious partners that are like a part of their lives and then also a part of our lives is so fair. I think that sometimes people don't want to go to weddings alone. And if they're given a +1, they will find a random friend. They'll go on a dating app. They'll bring like just anyone to like go to the wedding to make sure they're not going alone. But then again, that's kind of just like a waste of a seat, especially if it's a smaller wedding and you had to cut people and then someone brings
a random.
Yeah.
And here's the question about that, because we went through that process with both you and your brother getting married, going through the guest list with you. And I personally truly believe this. You know, quite often the parents, if they've got the ability, are kind of helping out with the wedding and some of the costs. So maybe they should have a little bit of a say in it. But I think the bride and the groom should know, one of them should know everybody at the wedding. Like everybody at the wedding should be known by either the bride or the groom.
Yeah. And like, I think even more so than known well, like have spoken to, have seen. I think that there's definitely like more traditional thoughts on this where again your family gets to kind of help with the guest list as well and that they're friends and things like that. But I do think that like we'll get into our wedding story a little bit more, but the best part of it, and I think maybe the only reason that you should actually ever do it, is that it is incredible to be surrounded by so many people that you love in one room. Like your partner and then the people that they love and people that you love. And there's something so magical about that when there's people you don't know for whatever reason, either a +1 you don't know or somebody your parents wanted to invite. It takes away from that. You know, It kind of dilutes the like looking around the room and being like, wow, this is everyone I love.
And then you're like, who is that person
you're
over
like,
there? Oh, they're with my friend Tyler.
Tyler brought a random. It's always a Tyler, isn't it?
Tyler brought that blonde, and oh my gosh. Now, could she not have worn a skirt that fit? And you know, you can just imagine.
She's wearing white.
Yeah, just to drive you crazy. Flipping Tyler.
Tyler brought the girl wearing white to the wedding, or it's your dad's coffee friend's son that you've never met before. You're like, who is this?
Right. I was at a wedding. Well, there's a couple of things, but emceeing weddings, I've done my share. I've probably.
You gotta turn him down. He's breathing into the mic. He's a mouth breather. I've heard it multiple times now. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Sorry, Renato. You're not allowed to breathe, apparently.
Not loudly.
Get used to it. It's called marriage. Yeah. You want to say something to that?
Well, I do have something to add in about this no ring, no bring.
That's why
if I can.
Oh, you want to back up to no ring, no bring? He was like,
that's why he was breathing
no,
so
I'm
loud.
just not used to having the mic on all the time.
Yeah.
I think I disagree though with both of your sentiments.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, a lot of people have weddings and they're like, oh, this wedding is for me. It's my day. It's our day. But I think you have a wedding for the guests. And if your guest is more comfortable bringing somebody and they're going to have a better time with a guest, I'm cool with that. I don't care if it's somebody I've never met. If they're going to have a better time,
they might stay
longer. And if they have a great time, I want my friends and family to have the best time because I'm hosting a party. And if that includes bringing a guest, go for it.
That's also a very easy thing to say when your wedding is done.
Well, it is. But also, and a second reason is that should theoretically mean more gifts.
I don't know if Tyler is giving you a big gift.
No.
And Tyler's hinge date, I'm not
No.
sure. I respect that perspective. You do want people
That's
to have
fair.
a good time, especially if
That's fair.
you're a
No.
single person
Yeah.
and you maybe are a work friend or something like, or a childhood friend, and you don't know a lot
It's
of
no
people.
fun coming alone.
And then you're just stuck at the singles table, which is just like
It's kind of like the kids'
misfits,
table.
and like nobody has anywhere to be, and then you're just kind of mixing and mingling. I can see that perspective where
Yeah.
it's more comfortable to be around someone that you know, for sure. I think that like common consensus now is like there's not a lot of +1s given. It's like if I know the name of your partner or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whomever,
Right.
then typically they'll be invited. I feel like it's much less common to say Tyler +1 versus Tyler and Brittany or whatever. Like if you know their name, then they might like get an invite. I don't know.
Brittany. Tyler and Brittany, sure. Yeah, okay, Renato, fair enough. But I then at what point, if you're going to be uncomfortable at the wedding, rather than just bringing a random, maybe you pass on going to the wedding. I don't.
But you want your friends.
I know.
I think
I know. I'm not.
And that's the thing about so many of these things that we're talking about, especially if and when we get into the hot takes from the Scheetz Heads.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways to look at it, and like it's very dependent on the wedding and the situation that you're in. The size of the wedding. There's a big difference between a random at a 40-person wedding and a random at a 300-person wedding. You know, like a random can slip in there. It's gonna be fine. But if it's very intimate and like maybe it's the craziest would be bringing a random on a destination wedding.
Right.
It's like traveling or something like that. I feel like there's just so many different specifics. But,
okay. All right. Fair.
So we've helped no one, but
all right. Well, I'll turn him up again. He had a good take there. It was almost worth the heavy breathing.
Yeah. Now quiet.
Yeah. MCing weddings. I've done my share over the years. I bet 30 probably. I'm just thinking. All of my nieces and nephews for the most part, just a lot of friends, and it's fun. I enjoy emceeing weddings for sure. It's a great opportunity, especially when you're close to people. It's so easy to do, and you can run roughshod on usually the father-in-laws and mother-in-laws and
I think that you're lucky to have so many people wish to speak at their wedding, but also people that know you are lucky, because I think finding an MC is hard.
Right.
I feel like often it's like, who of our friends is going to feel comfortable? You don't want to make someone, you don't want them to be bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, so many people we know are like, damn, we know Chris is a yapper. We know he's going to do a good job. This is like, we have a professional.
Yeah.
That's so lucky, because I do think it's kind of hard to find an MC.
And for the most part, like what kind of things stand out to me when it comes to that? It's very stereotypical, but the drunk best man coming up and speaking, and they come up and they grab the mic from me, and this wedding, I think the whole crowd had PTSD after it. It was, but the best man grabbed the mic. He went right up to the bride and groom and stood behind them and he had a speech. And when somebody says, I had a speech prepared, but I'm just going to speak from the heart, that never goes well.
No, especially not after
17 drinks.
Yeah.
And so on and on and on. And the crowd is texting me, Chris, take him off. Take him off. How do I walk up and take him off?
You like play him off like Oscars, like the music? Like what do you do at that point?
I know I should have taken him off. Like but again, you're just not prepared for it. And
is that your job as the MC?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for the bride and groom, and it was just, and they're beautiful people, but it was just so awkward. Like I can still picture it in my mind.
A lot of people are moving towards doing speeches at like rehearsal dinners, like in a smaller setting. So like the family, when it's like, okay, you have a rehearsal dinner with your closest family and the wedding party, let's do our speeches then. And then the wedding the whole wedding doesn't have to, one, listen to them, two, it's like can be very stressful.
Yes.
There's one thing that I think the people would want to hear you talk about, Chris. What do you hate at weddings? Open mics.
Open mics. Open mics are the worst. Weddings and funerals, it is the worst.
I think a funeral is a very different situation.
No, or sorry, Bailey. Sorry, I just called you your mother's name. No,
if that's your grieving process and you want to talk about the person, I think it's a different situation.
I guess, but they're not prepared. And
yeah,
I was
emotional.
I was at a funeral where an open mic happened, and they came up once, and then they'd forgotten some stuff, so they came up again. Whatever you do, please, I'm just begging you. Chinese food, Dairy Queen ice cream cake, no open mic at my whatever it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
You've heard it here first.
No open mic.
I don't know why the wedding episode turned into you like sharing your last rites with us. Okay, this I guess became your will. I don't know this. Sure.
It always does.
Yeah.
It always does. I love emceeing weddings, and you're right. It's not easy to find, but try to find that one funny uncle, and then he's offside. And
yeah, it's hard to find the right person. I have done a few weddings, not as many as you, and to varying degrees of success. Because it also depends on the audience.
Oh, I did a wedding once, and the majority of the crowd was from Germany and could not speak English.
Yeah, and you didn't have subtitles.
I have German in me. Like, I've got German in me. Scheetz, of course. You've got German in you too. But they say the shortest book in the world is the German Book of Comedy. And they say the second shortest book in the world is Volume 2. So a German wedding, in this case anyway, when half the crowd could not even speak English, that was a tough go for me. And so sometimes it can be the crowd.
Yeah,
it's not. Sometimes it isn't you, right?
I have crushed as an MC, and I have failed as an MC, and with the same amount of energy and the same kind of jokes. So it really, you can sense the crowd right away. I think it also depends how many drinks the crowd has had. If you're having a happy-go-lucky
Ukrainian wedding,
thirsty crowd,
oh man,
it's gonna go well. It's gonna go well. But yeah, it is. It's an important duty. I don't envy doing them all the time, but I get why you do them all the time because it's such an easy. Oh, yeah, you even did my brother Carter's.
That's right.
You emceed it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. So, okay. And what about officiating weddings? Who do you get to officiate now? I mean, in the old days, it was typically a justice of the peace, or it was, a priest or a minister or a reverend or whatever. But now it's like you can get any random to do it for you. Yeah. And it can be very, very meaningful. You can get the parent to do it. You can get a friend to do it. I go way back to Ralph Klein. Ralph Klein, when he was the premier of the province, he made the ability the very first time for just randoms to do it. And I married through the radio station. I married a ton of people, and we had weddings in Long Rider Saloon and all sorts of different places. Probably over the years, I've probably married 15 couples, I would bet. And as far as I know, they're all still married. So
100% success rate.
100% success rate, which is awesome. And it's it's an honor to do it for sure. But where was I going to go with that? Marrying couples. I had something else about that, but yeah, it certainly is an honor to do it. And
I think it is special. It depends, I guess, your relationship with, I guess, if you're in a church and your pastor's doing it and you know him and you're close with him, that makes more sense. But but for people to go and just be married by somebody that they've met twice or whatever, it's nice when a friend or somebody close to you can do it. It just makes it a little bit more special.
And it would be the same with funerals. I know I'm going to that too.
My God. You know what side of life you're on when the wedding episode
but the point is
just constantly goes back to a celebration of life.
But the point is, it would be in the same way. You don't just want a random minister or something to be doing your funeral. You'd rather have somebody that meant something in your life that knew you very well. I think it just would be much better too. So that's a good example of that. But officiating weddings is something that now anybody can do. You can apply through the government and you can go get all the paperwork done and you can officially marry a couple, which is cool.
So you can say you've been married 16 times.
Yes, exactly.
You've married 16 times.
I have. I have. And it's an honor and a thrill to do it. I'll be doing it coming up in September. I've been asked many times more than that, and I'm almost like, oh, you know what, I don't really want to do it full time.
And I also think that it means more when it's people that you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard again, like emceeing, to pull things out of nowhere, and it feels less like special and connection.
A couple of Scheetz Heads though this September, Cole and Emma will be.
We love them,
and they're incredible people, and so we're gonna get a chance to marry them and MC the wedding, and so I'm probably gonna be the band, the DJ too. I'm thinking I might as well do it all. The wedding.
Hope
singer,
you like country roads.
The wedding. Yeah, and live like you were dying.
both, yeah.
And now for our first dance, it's Live Like You Were Dying by Tim McGraw, because Chris is just in that mood.
He's just morbid.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, shout out to the Scheetz Heads. They listen every week.
Oh yeah, Cole for sure. He is dedicated. I think that he's our first download every week.
Yeah, we're trying to make a plan on when to get together about their wedding, and I said we're just trying to figure out when we're going to be recording another Talking Scheetz, and he says that takes priority. Don't worry about my wedding. Just get another edition of Talking Scheetz.
Maybe we'll do Talking Scheetz live from Cole and Emma's wedding. We'll do a live podcast.
Okay, really quickly, I have one really quick thing about our wedding. Karen and I got married May 16th, 1992, so it's been over 33 years ago. Big Ukrainian wedding. I think there was close to 400 people there, if I'm not mistaken, at the Genesee Hall, and it was the best day of my life, next to my children being born and now my grandchild being born. But it was an incredible day. I got drunk by accident.
By accident.
I did. Everybody was feeding me drinks, and I did not plan to get that drunk. But that's not what I want to talk about.
How old were you too? I feel like that's important context.
92, 21 years old.
Yeah. So that's like, you're at a party, you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
You're going to be drinking.
Exactly. So, but the thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to our wedding was they had something called Ukrainian presentation. And what happens is halfway through the night, it's brilliant if you're getting married, because what happens through the night, even though all these families have, gotten you wonderful wedding gifts, then they have this presentation where they've kind of got a boot, and the entire wedding goes through the procession of the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, the flower girls, the whatever flower boys, the ring bearers, whatever they are, and they go through the whole list to get to the bride and groom, and they congratulate them all. And then they put some more money in the boot. And I think we got $7,000.
Oh my God.
In 1992.
From the boot.
From the boot. $7,000 from these incredibly generous Ukrainians and Germans.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Which, again, when you're 21 years old and you're just starting your life, truly, that is one of the perks of getting married at that point, is like, that is a huge amount of money for you.
$7,000 in 1992. Yeah, it might as well have been $70,000. It was
amazing.
Fantastic. So that was the good part of the presentation. But this is the awkward part of the presentation. Every last one of these old guys would go through this line and kiss all the girls on the lips.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, if I'm Uncle whoever, and I'm going through the line, and there's the bridesmaids and whatever.
Okay, so the bride, just the wedding party.
Yeah, the wedding party.
Okay, not just every woman there.
No.
It's like, what is going on?
So you're a bridesmaid, or you're the matron of honor at this wedding, or you're the bride.
Yeah.
You're getting kissed on the lips by all these guys.
Oh my gosh, all these old men?
Uh-huh.
Why?
It's just the way it is. I don't know.
I'm sure not all of them were.
Not all of them.
No, they were. I'm sure there was a couple creepy uncles.
Well, but no, I think it's like it was a European thing or something. I don't know.
I've never heard of that in my.
No.
I am certainly not rich. I don't know if I would take getting kissed by all of these old men for $7,000.
That's what I'm saying.
But even worse is like, sure, mom got the money. What about these poor bridesmaids?
That's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of hot takes about wedding parties coming up that we'll discuss, but that is a wow. I don't think I even have ever heard that story before.
Renato doesn't even know how to react. Renato.
Well, I think depending on how much these uncles gave, like, I'd kiss them.
Renato would kiss anyone for $7,000.
I can be bought.
It was not just uncles; it was neighbors too. Okay.
Oh my
I'm just
gosh!
saying. You guys don't remember Richard Dawson when he was on Family Feud?
No.
Family Feud. The original was Richard Dawson, and he would introduce the families or whatever. He'd come up to these ladies and he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing there, sweetie?" And just big smack right on the lips.
That is so. I was gonna say, when you started the story, I'm sad the boot tradition ended. Like, we didn't get a boot, but maybe that's probably a good thing.
I think it got me too'd.
They said, not in this era of life. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, but I had to bring
that is the main story you've shared from your wedding so far. The best day of your life. Wow.
It's just an observation of the times. It was a different time.
Clearly.
Great wedding night though, and a great wedding. We had just a huge shaker, and we left at like whatever. We left at like 3 a.m. You know when the bride and groom leave a wedding at like 3 a.m?
Yeah.
You know that they're not the ones that are necessarily. Let's just put it this way: when the bride and groom leave at like 10:30, you know that they followed the rules of the Bible.
They wish to consummate their marriage, is what you're saying. Okay, that's their priority for the night. Yes. I don't know if we need to get into this.
But if you stay till 3,
It might not happen. No.
I'm just saying. All right. Yeah. So anyway, that was our wedding. Your wedding was an absolute.
I wanted to share one more thing. I wanted to ask one more thing about your wedding.
Yeah.
And your pants.
Yeah. My pants?
Yeah. Your pants at your wedding.
Why?
When you were dancing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was drinking, as we talked about, and I started doing the splits. Which is not something that look at me. I mean, even then and now, and in between.
Have you ever done the splits?
Never.
Prior to that or since?
Never.
So something about it was like, I married the best woman in the world, which you did.
I was so happy.
You were like, I'm just gonna start doing the splits tonight.
And
no warm up.
No warm ups. No stretching. I just started going boink boink. And again, if you're on YouTube, you can just see me. I was bouncing down like Simone Biles.
Oh my god!
And I was just boink boink boink.
Like as part of your dance move.
Yes. And the next day I woke up, and even if I would have wanted to consummate, I couldn't have, because I couldn't even friggin' move. I think I'd taken both my hips out of their joints.
At 21 too.
At
You
21,
were young.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I think.
I don't know what about your wedding night was like. Yep, this is the time I'm gonna do the splits. Although when I
How do you remember that?
Because I think it's so funny. And our wedding, which again we'll get more into, many things happened, and in the result there was not a lot of dancing, but there was brief dancing on a trailer bed, outdoor trailer bed.
Yes.
And maybe we do have more in common than you think,
Yeah.
because I decided that on my wedding night I could do the worm
Yeah.
for the first time ever. And there's video evidence.
That's my
And
little girl.
My chin to this day still has a piece in it that moves because I hit it so hard when I was doing
on
the worm
Armitage construction deck.
the Armitage construction trailer bed, which
First plug free.
classy wedding. I slammed my chin first, and like there's still a piece of like bone or cartilage that is floating free.
Oh.
So I got a free chin implant at my wedding. So maybe dance floor injuries are a Scheetz thing.
Just part of it. Why was your wedding on a flatbed truck, Bailey?
Well,
Trailer, that is.
we got engaged for context in September of 2019. And I don't know if you remember much of what happened after 2019, but COVID-19 hit.
Yeah.
And by 2020, when we had originally planned to get married in September of 2020, by the time spring and summer of that year hit, it was not looking good. So we had an original plan, and I do want to give a shout out to our original plan because it was so amazing.
It was going to be so
I
good.
want someone to take it and do it, and then invite me, because it was
Maybe
like
Leona.
please, someone.
Mhm.
I can't wait that long. But our original vision for our wedding, when we got engaged, we wanted to do something different. We knew that. We wanted to kind of do something that suited us, but then was something that was like really, really fun for our guests. When Renato said a wedding is for your guests, he's very passionate about that, about the experience of others. So we had planned to have our wedding reception at Cook County Saloon. And
On a Sunday night.
yes, of a long weekend. Rented out the September long weekend and kind of clear the thing out, turn it into a big country disco. And like, what better place to make sure that people are dancing and drinking and having an amazing time than a country bar? Like, it just felt right. So we were pretty committed to that vision. And then the pandemic hit, and then we kept moving it and trying to come up with different things. And in the end, after planning 6 different versions of a wedding, you just realize that a lot of things don't matter that much. And I think that my perspective on weddings changed a lot over that 2-year stretch before we ended up getting married in 2021. And it just, it kind of stripped everything back and made us realize what we really cared about was seeing family and friends in a safe way and getting married. And so 2 years later, which we didn't plan to have a long engagement, we planned to have a year-long engagement. It ended up being 2 years. And we ended up getting married in the backyard of where we are right now, at your mom and dad's house.
Like 50 feet from where we were sitting.
Yeah, like right, basically exactly where we are. In October, October 10th, outside with almost as many guests as we wanted, which was really nice, but it was all sitting outside in October at night. Our ceremony was at night, so it was cold. There was sandwiches that you could kind of grab and eat. The big dinner that we had planned and we couldn't do. Cookie. Oh yeah, there was cookies. I never even got a cookie. Like, I don't know. We had a bonfire, cookies, some trailer bed dancing, but not really like we didn't have a first dance. We didn't have cake. We didn't have any of those like really traditional things that we did want some of those, but it ended up being way less traditional than we even expected. But also at the end of the day, it was a really beautiful, I guess if I was to share a hot take, it's that your wedding actually shouldn't be the best day of your life. And I don't think it was the best day of my life. I am so happy that we got married, and I love my husband, despite what maybe this podcast sounds like sometimes.
Or just prior to this when you were yelling at him?
We were scrapping a little bit today, yeah. But it's just, especially now having Leona and like that day of having her, like I'm just like, it wasn't the best day of my life. It was a really good day. We had fun. The best part of it was seeing so many people that we loved, but it was outside in October. People were wearing jackets. People were freezing, and it was fine. You know, it was fine.
Yeah.
The worst part of wedding planning was just transitioning and trying to figure out what was safe and what was allowed, and
like
it was
the week
just
before,
a nightmare.
And we're waiting for the premier to announce what you could do, and we're just going, oh my gosh, there was a lot of stress there for sure. But you're right. It's just the wedding. It's not. The wedding day is just the day. It's the days after that are honestly the most important. Wedding traditions are cool. I there's something to be said for traditions that kind of keep a constant in our world.
And so many are so beautiful.
But you're like, for example, who stood up with you at your wedding?
Just our brothers.
Right.
Yeah. But they weren't even like a technical wedding party. It was just like our brothers were there.
Yeah.
That was something, wedding parties come up a lot in the hot takes, but that was something that for sure once COVID hit, it was like, we can't bring someone else along for this journey. Like, we don't know what it's going to look like. We're not kind of, but even before that, we have so many good friends and family. Like, I have been in probably 10 weddings, like so many of my cousins that are more like siblings, so many of our friends that we love so much, lifelong friends. It was just like, it was either going to be a wedding party of 50 or no wedding party at all. And to ask 50 people to come again along this crazy COVID planning wedding journey with us, and even just in general, we wanted our friends and family to have so much fun. And I have had amazing times being in the wedding parties for those that I love, but it was just, we had too many people, and it ended up just being our brothers doing the like legal signing and walking down the aisle. Renato has 2 brothers and I have 1, of course. And it was perfect. I feel like it also, it kind of kept people away from the madness of it, because it would have been so much harder to navigate had we had also 30 other people kind of involved and dresses and all of that. It's just, it's a real undertaking. So
yeah. It turned out beautifully. It's easy for me to say, but the sun was setting.
Yeah.
We had Anthony and James's teepee in the background. We brought you in with the old car, and
I made a arch out of neon lights the week before the wedding. Once I realized that our wedding was going to be outside.
Yeah.
And at night, which is just crazy, I was like, okay, well, we need to have something cool. So I welded a giant wedding arch and then like put neon strips on it, which I don't even know where I found that skill or energy, but it was like bride mode was on. So it ended up being cool. It was unique. We wanted Cook County, but it ended up being unique because who else has an outdoor wedding in Alberta in October? It's like almost snowed the morning of. It was freezing cold.
It was, because we had decorated and put all sorts of things up, and then we woke up in the morning and it was like, oh my
everything
gosh,
was
they're all
ruined,
soggy, but it just didn't matter.
It didn't, honestly.
And
none of that.
You got fireworks. I made sure you got fireworks, because I said that my girl at least deserves fireworks.
They're
for
like
wedding.
cool. They were the cool kind, the silent kind, because we talked about how I don't like loud fireworks.
Yeah.
But because it was nighttime. Yeah, you had made sure, you were like, we need to have something special, and we had really cool like sparkler fireworks go off as we were walking up the aisle, and the speeches were amazing. I thought it was a really special day. It wasn't the best day of my life, and I'm happy that it wasn't. But it was fun, and I got to wear a pretty dress.
Okay. Your brother?
my wedding shoes were more important to me than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And I got to wear them in the mud.
You looked great, and it was good. It was awesome. All
Yeah.
right. Your brother's wedding also happened in the backyard.
Yes, they copied us.
Yeah.
Except for theirs was in August for some reason.
They got to actually go to a hall and celebrate it.
Yeah.
But they got engaged in April, I think.
Yeah.
And got married in August.
Yeah.
And Kara, my wife, was saying, I know what your opinion is about long engagements, and
don't bully them.
Don't bully people into short engagements, but man, that was so good. It was so good. Like, it just, you can get it done. Like you can get it done quickly. Like my whole line is you can plan a funeral. Here we go again.
Oh my God. Funeral count is at 3 for everyone listening.
You can plan
at
a
home.
funeral in 3 days. You don't need 2 years to plan a wedding.
I think you do if you're very particular
About your venue.
And your venues book years out, especially
Right.
they got married last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, wedding venues were crazy. They were filling up. If you're very particular about the things you want, your vendors, if you want certain catering in a certain venue and certain hair and makeup people and a certain photographer, you have to book that years and years out. And I think that that's very valid. But if you just want to get married and figure it out along the way, they pulled it off so quickly. I think a lot of people thought that there was a shotgun wedding. I think that they thought that the baby was going to come on, but it was like, no, they're just doing this because they want to get married. I also think that we scared the crap out of them with our wedding saga, where we wanted to get married quickly, and then you just never know what's going to happen in life and who's going to be able to be there, and you wouldn't have expected a global pandemic to hit. So I was like, get married while you can.
Yeah, you kept saying that too.
Yes, because
you and me both were
you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. And so if you know that your family can make it and everyone is happy and healthy, and you'll figure it out. Leslie bought a stunning dress at we were in the ballroom of a random hotel in the West. It was like a clearance sale for dresses. I mean, she looks amazing in anything, so it didn't matter, but her dress was perfect and stunning for her. People buy dresses and then have to wait 3 years for them to deliver and stuff. She just picked it up out of a hotel. Like the most chill couple. So their wedding ended up being so beautiful and chill, but it was really just about wanting to get married.
And this is and I'm not quite a boomer, but this is an old man's take. But if you think people are going to want to hear you talking about planning your wedding for 2 years, they are not. So, do everybody a favor.
Now you're
around
bullying
you.
You're bullying the listeners into not having long engagements. Have a long engagement if like I said.
Have a long engagement if you want to drive everybody around you crazy.
No.
Yes.
If you have dreamed your whole life of getting married in a certain venue and you can't book that for 2 years or 3 years, or
Does the venue matter that much?
For some people, yes. I think that it depends what you value. I also have friends that are in a situation where when you are in your late 20s, early 30s, everyone around you is getting married. There is like a point where you don't have weekends and you want some space between. So if so many people in a friend group are getting married, you're like, frick, I'll take 2026. Like it's just, there's so many weddings, right?
Fair.
This is like the time in our lives where we go to so many weddings every year because we're in the age where so many of our friends are getting married and it's so beautiful and fun. But you also kind of want your own time. You don't want to be like, oh, just another wedding.
That's fair. No, I'm seeing this whole thing very black and white, and so you've brought in some perspective there. But I'm just saying, if you can, just make it happen. If you love that person and you want to be married to them, why not start as soon as you can?
I think if you accept, I really think that it might not be the best day of your life, but it's going to be a great day. I think that's a
important.
great way to look at it, because
that's a great rule.
It's a lot of pressure. And I even felt that before the pandemic hit and I thought I could plan whatever I wanted. I was overwhelmed by oh my gosh, it has to be perfect for me and this vision. And you get caught up in oh my, at one point prior to realizing that our wedding wasn't going to happen how we wanted it to, I was obsessed with the table runners on the tables. We didn't end up even have a tables. We didn't end up, but at first it's it shows you some perspective, and you can't get stuck into all of those details because it's just, and if you have the money, hire a planner. I feel like that is we obviously didn't hire a planner. We had 18 weddings and it ended up being in a backyard, but I feel like that is a worthy expense if you're someone who gets stressed out by planning those kind of things.
Okay. I think we've probably covered a lot of the hot takes during this time period, but we've got a bunch of wedding hot takes from others that we were going to talk about. We've got just so many on the Talking Scheetz Instagram, which if you're not following yet, please do.
Yeah. It's our place we ask questions, we share episode updates and things like that, fun little reels. There were so many hot takes that I didn't even put it on our document because it was just, there were so many.
I could start with a Fit Daddy YEG. He commented, he said, he believes there's a correlation between the amount of money you spend on a wedding and divorce. that was his take on that. And sometimes you go to these fancy schmancy weddings and you see this couple that look like they are in love, and you're like, all right, well, this ain't gonna last. And unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't.
I can sense something we haven't touched on, and a couple of different comments we have. I'm just reading one here from Kelsey Lynn 98.
Yeah.
Big weddings are overrated and not worth it. Elopement is better and way cheaper. There is quite a few here that are about eloping and how that is the move. One person even said, I didn't realize this until after I had a wedding, but eloping would have been better. Eloping is another option, right? Like some people just want to get married with either a really, really small group or nobody at all, just them and their partner. And I think that if you don't want to spend the money and the stress, I think that's valid. Like I've said, Renato and I spend every day together. I do think that there was something special about having people that we loved around us. And especially when we thought for a long time that we might not be able to have people near us at all it ended up being outside. I really... Now I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that they were here or they got to come or we got to see them. And so I think that, but it depends. If you don't have, if you just want to go and get married and that's your goal, then that's easy too. Mm-hmm. And a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the cool thing about, like, do you have to get married? No, you don't have to get married. But I think that it's a cool commitment that two people make to each other to say, you're mine, I'm yours. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do this thing till death do us part. So, however you do that, I think it's a good thing to do for sure. Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have a comment here that says, you shouldn't have to spend the entire night with your partner. I want to be on the dance floor with my girls.
Okay.
And Renato and I were discussing that one when it came through, and you actually don't see your partner very much at your wedding. If you have a decently sized wedding,
if you're doing it right,
maybe not even right, but Renato and I remember after our wedding, people were cold, but they still ended up staying, and that was so nice. We ended up going to bed so late. But we were like, oh, hey, how was your night? Like we split up to talk to so many friends and family that we didn't actually spend that much time together. And so that's why sometimes it's more about celebrating with the people you love than your partner. I will say a lot of people set aside now time to be with their partners. Like there's this thing where people
separate table.
They eat dinner either alone. They have like their own little intimate dinner, or they just kind of have
weird, but whatever.
Well, I mean, to each their own.
Oh yeah, to each their own. But it looks weird when the bride and groom are off to the side in the corner.
Sometimes they leave the venue completely, or like go to a different room, like away, like to have their special dinner. Renato and I were lucky because of we weren't lucky in a lot of ways when it came to wedding planning, but because of just the structure of our wedding, we did spend a lot of the day together. Like I got ready alone with mom, and I got ready together, and then after that it was kind of like we went and did some photos. We went to Cook County and took photos just to kind of honor our original plan, and also I had multiple outfit changes to make, and we had to do some pictures. But we ended up spending a lot of the day together. So the evening part was more when we were mingling with our own friends and family and kind of things like that. But I feel like the actual day we got to see each other a lot. So it's really just.
Yeah. What's your take? Do you have one? You look like you do.
Like a hot take?
No, I don't know.
I do have a hot take. And I was going to chime in earlier while we were talking about bridal parties. But I think that if you're going to ask people to be like a groomsman or a bridesmaid, you should cover all of the costs associated with that. Because every time I've been a groomsman, and I've been very happy to be groomsman for Carter and my brother, it's been a great time. But you are kind of imposing costs on these people, right? Like they have to sometimes buy suits or dresses or rent them.
Hey, you're talking groomsmen. Bridesmaids
have it worse.
They have it much worse.
For sure, absolutely. And I acknowledge that. But and then you'll have to, if you're invited out, there's trips costs, you have to go on.
Oh, now you got to go on all these
stags. Some of them are trips. And,
don't get Dad started on that.
It's very nice to be invited. It means a lot. But it
could be a $2,000.
Absolutely.
It could be having the honor can cost you $2,000
exactly.
or more.
Well, so I feel like if you're going to have a party, then you should pay the costs.
Yeah.
There is a lot of hot takes about wedding parties for sure in our comments. But this one made me laugh from Kaylin Mateus. She says, it shouldn't cost more to be in your bridal party than my entire wedding budget. And then someone else said, I would never ask somebody to be in my wedding party. I don't hate anybody that much. my take on that, I think that wedding parties are beautiful, and I have had some of the best times on bachelorette trips for my friends, on wedding showers and things like that. I love to be a bridesmaid. I have done, like I've said, I've done it a lot of times. Every single time I've loved it. I do, but I think that I don't think that they should be obligated to pay for everything. I think that saying no to being in a wedding party should be a valid option. I think that it's like,
it's definitely not.
It's not. No. There's no, if someone asks you, especially now where they have the pretty boxes where they ask you with treats and things, nobody is saying no. It's very awkward to say no. I think we should normalize saying no if you're not in the financial or life space. Like, if you don't have time, there's a lot of times where people just have babies or who knows, work stress, like school, you could be in school. If it doesn't make sense for you, you should be able to say no. But if you want to be in the wedding party, then you should be able to. Like, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's a great take.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would never say no, though.
Wedding parties.
Put me in your wedding party. Take a picture with me.
But you're right. It can cost so much money. And now, Mexico, Vegas, Nashville.
The bachelorette, and bachelor party culture has really, it wasn't even as much of a thing.
Yeah, we went sturgeon fishing for Carter's stag, and I think everybody felt like that was worth it. I mean, it's easy for me to say, but it wasn't that crazy of a price, and it was a great time.
And you all got a big house. I think it depends on the cost, but again, if you have a bunch of rich friends and you want to go on a crazy trip to Dubai, do it.
If your name is Lauren Kyle,
well,
rip away.
Yes,
right?
Yes, as she should.
Yeah. Okay. You got another take there?
Oh, there's so many. Buffet greater than plated dinner. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
There's like some people that think that like, oh, your guests shouldn't have to get up and like bring a plate. Like, it's not as classy as a served dinner. But most of our family has giant Ukrainian buffets, and like there's nothing better. There's nothing better than like
shout out to Kasha.
Yes, unlimited
Kasha
pierogies. I don't want 4 pierogies on my plate. I want to.
Yeah. I am so offended that by getting up at your wedding to go to the buffet that I will do it 3 times for thirds.
You're just letting them know.
That's what I'm saying. They normally don't put enough on a plated plate for an average sized guy like me.
Our friend Morgan says, as a soon-to-be groom, it's our day too, not just the bride. I do think that sometimes grooms are overshadowed. You know, like the bride looks amazing. It's really like a lot of times the women are planning most of it.
And Morgan says that he wants to have some of the attention at the wedding.
Yes.
Good luck, Morgan. That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Renato had a pink suit. That's something we should talk about.
That's fine, but it wasn't his day.
I feel like you think it was still more about me than you?
Well, you didn't grow up, you weren't one of those girls who grew up thinking about her wedding since she was 6 years old and knowing the types of cutlery she was going to have. No, that wasn't you.
Thankfully, because the way it worked out, that would have been a disaster.
Oh, it would have been a nightmare if I was a bride. By the end, I was a bit of a bridezilla. I think just because I was going crazy. But
you were so cold.
It was so good. Not the end of the night. But I had I was so warm with love and the occasional fireball shot that I didn't actually feel cold, and my chin was broken. I didn't feel cold at all at our wedding. But
weddings are for brides. They are
not always. I feel like grooms can have their moment to shine too.
They can shine it, like they can sparkle in the corner, but I think it's about the bride.
Yeah, I think so.
But okay, fair enough, Morgan. Good luck.
A comment from our friend Heather O'Callahan, recently engaged. We're very excited for Heather and Brett. She says her hot take is Carter being your wedding planner.
Oh yeah,
my brother, your son.
We talk about him being like he's extremely frugal and cheap.
Yes.
Right?
He planned the crap out of their wedding, though. Like, he really took it into his own hands. He was very, very hands-on, and he's very aggressive with what he believes in. He's like,
I wonder who he gets that from.
This is how weddings should be. They shouldn't be expensive, and they should be fun.
It shouldn't be a waste of money, and they should be fun.
Yeah, and everyone should wear a bolo tie. Those are his hot takes.
But he's like, photographers and spending.
Oh, he didn't think that any pictures needed to happen at their wedding.
He's like, nobody's ever going to look at these pictures. Now it's all about Instagram. But honestly, these phones almost take us, and no disrespect to incredible photographers.
Oh, there are so many amazing wedding photographers.
There is, but the price of that kind of stuff is like scary.
Yeah,
like,
photographers, photographers, videographers, all of that.
You can spend 10 grand on that easy.
Yes, just a photographer for sure.
Yeah.
We got very lucky where my friend Dana took our wedding photos, and then Chelsea Jensen, who we love,
Yes.
friend of the show, took Carter and Leslie's, and both did an incredible job.
Yeah.
Really, really talented photographers. But we had friends, which was lucky. But it and also really booked out. Like I said, if you want a certain photographer, I think it also depends. If you're doing an elopement, like we talked about, you're gonna want the best possible photos, right? Like nobody else is there, so all you can do is
100%.
share photos. I understand paying that money, and like photographers also work very, very hard at weddings. You're running around, and I feel like the pressure to capture all those moments is hard for sure. But
yeah, if you're a couple that's going to Mexico to elope, it would make sense to send a photographer with you, or have a great one in Mexico to capture everything for you, and a video and all that stuff. Because you're right, not everybody's there, but when everybody you love has witnessed it themselves. The reality is, I mean, I can't remember what it was. A significant amount of money that we paid for our wedding photos, kind of the classic ones.
You were like,
the
in
tuxedos and
in the like stage kind of place where you got the photos with the backdrops done,
and none of those mean really much of anything.
But
anymore.
you have a beautiful wedding photo hung on your wall. That's always like you want one or two.
That's right.
That are like classic that you're gonna remember from that day.
But man, do the groomsmen ever get tired of taking pictures?
Oh, they're grumpy and they're a little drunk a lot of the time.
A little drunk.
Sometimes.
I remember our buddy Aaron's wedding.
Yes.
Aaron and Colby. Shout out to them. I was emceeing their wedding, and so it was time for the wedding to start. And I knew they were in their vans or whatever they were in outside.
After taking pictures.
Exactly. So I went into the vans to get the wedding party out, and I said, "Guys, like it's time. We got a hall full of people waiting for you guys to eat." And I came back and I said, "They're all hammered, even the photographer."
And when they came dancing in, like the bridal party entrance, it was like the place had been struck by lightning. That was quite
thunderstruck. It was, but it was a lot of fun. But I'm like, even the photographer's loaded.
Yeah,
we're gonna have one heck of a night, and we did.
The photos turned out beautiful.
They did.
So she did a great job.
I took most of them, I think.
One last hot take.
Yeah.
This one we haven't talked a lot about, but children at weddings. Claudia Swindler says, "Child free or I'm not coming."
Whoa.
Hot.
Claudia.
We asked for hot takes.
And that's a hot one.
That's a hot one.
That's sizzling.
Yeah, that's a sizzling. Like, not only, again, we don't have context for exactly what she means, but I think she means like no children must be present for me to attend the wedding.
Right.
Not even her own. I understand making that rule for your own wedding, but maybe she means for her own wedding. I don't know. Hard to say.
Claudia, I respectfully disagree.
Oof.
And I love you, Claudia, because you're a Scheetz Head, and we love you desperately. But I love to see the children at the weddings. At some of my greatest memories as a child were like at my aunt's and uncle's weddings. Like I remember those times, and you see these kids on the dance floor dancing, and it just, there's so much energy with it. When I go to weddings that don't have children at them, oh yeah, you're right. You don't have kids crying, or you don't have kids doing this or that, but they're our future.
There you go.
And,
I think that Renato and I are invited to 2 weddings this summer. We're very, very excited. One of which Leona's not invited to, which I understand. Like, when the wedding invites came out, she was barely alive.
Right.
And one she is. And I'm equally excited for a night out, because we don't do that a lot, right?
Fair.
We really don't go out a lot without her. So I'm excited to have a date night and kind of celebrate 2 of our friends with our friends. And hopefully grandma and grandpa can babysit.
I like
and
your
then
chances.
I'm also equally excited to bring her to the other wedding that she is invited to, because it'll be so fun again to just watch her bopping around and having a great time. So I think it's really each to your own on that one, but I definitely would still attend if it was child or not child free.
Again, I'm not trying to be old grumpy guy, but I love kids at weddings. I love kids at weddings.
I think it also depends on your aesthetic and your goal. Like, if you're having a very fancy wedding, and you don't want a little critter climbing around on the dance floor or whatever, I think it depends on also the people in your life. If you have a lot of kids in your life, it makes sense to include them in the day. If you don't, then
if they matter to you, invite them. If they don't, if you don't have anybody that really matters much, then why would?
And a lot of times
would your best friend from work bring their kid? It doesn't make sense.
And a lot of times you also have to pay per
Right.
plate. Like a lot of times there's child rates, but
Fair
you
enough.
can pay for a kid to eat. We've seen Leona eat. Half of it ends up on the floor.
Half of it, more than that.
But she'll be a good time at a wedding this summer
Oh,
for sure.
she's
She
gonna
loves
love it.
She loves to dance.
She might be dancing by then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there it is. Is that our wedding edition? Did you think we covered everything that
There
we
were
needed
so
to?
many other hot takes, but a lot were like themed, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that we've covered
I think
most of it.
over the time. I mean, the one thing that we got is out of this is don't let your uncle kiss you on the lips.
Well, definitely don't do that.
No.
No, not at your wedding, and maybe not ever. No. And that we found out your plans for your funeral. So
Yeah, Chinese food, ice cream cake, no open mic.
yeah. And country roads.
You got anything else to say, buddy?
No.
Are you glad you married me?
That's the thing. I always say I wanted to get married, not have a wedding.
And we barely did. We honestly sometimes don't know if we sent the papers in, so hopefully.
Like, subscribe, and tell a friend about Talking Scheetz. We love you all, even you, Claudia.
We'd marry you.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be. 'Cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking sheets.